Hello everyone, and welcome to my Bold and Beautiful Today channel. Finn's promise to Liam and Carter's grave error. According to Monday, May 19th, spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful, Steffy Forrester will decide on a Hope Logan choice, and Carter Walton will make a grave error. What B&B fans may anticipate is that John Finnegan will also make a commitment to Liam Spencer. Hope seemed to be leaning toward Carter after hearing Liam's attempts to get her to return to him. But before she concentrates on the Carter reunion, Hope needs to mend another relationship. In Monday's episode, Hope and Steffy will choose to expand on their previous areas of agreement. Hope is likely to admit her mistake and issue an apology for lending such strong support to Carter's takeover. Steffy might also own that she erred when she persuaded Ridge and Eric Forrester to break their agreement with Carter. Steffy would eventually reverse her decision and extend an invitation to Hope to return to Forrester Creations, as she was the reason Hope was fired. As Hope and Steffy come to terms with the fact that life is too short to play these games, there will be some heartfelt gestures on both sides. Steffy and Hope will have a peaceful resolution on Monday's show since Liam's grave prognosis has been a genuine wake-up call. Hope for the future should be revived as a result of Hope and Steffy agreeing to put all the unpleasantness behind them. Liam will visit Finn's office at the hospital to request a favor pertaining to Steffy and Hope. Even after he leaves, Liam will enlist Finn's help to ensure that his daughter's mothers get along because he wants them to. Hope and Steffy are already headed in the right direction, but Finn will undoubtedly promise to do his best. Although things can alter in the future, Steffy's impending return of Hope to Forrester Creations should bring good news to Finn and Liam for the time being. According to spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful, Carter might make a huge mistake by giving in to Daphne Rose's, Muriel Hilaire, temptation. Based on what he heard, Carter believes Hope threw their love away, but he is unaware that Hope was holding on to Liam because of his inoperable brain mass. Stay tuned for updates on the chaos of it all, as it appears like Carter will have sex with Daphne before realizing his error in the upcoming episodes. The Bold and the Beautiful's upcoming 2 weeks promise to be an emotionally charged roller coaster as Steffy Forrester makes an unexpected and enigmatic turn that leaves viewers and her family wondering what her true intentions are. Relationships undergo drastic changes, and emotions are strained to their breaking point as Liam Spencer's health problem hangs over the entire canvas. Steffy, who has always been renowned for her staunch loyalty and strong will, starts acting strangely. She starts to distance herself from Finn in subtle but visible ways, and she also starts showing Hope Logan's sensitivity that her closest friends and family find suspicious. Her odd conduct begins quietly, with missed calls, evasive justifications, and odd absences that Finn initially attributes to emotional exhaustion. Even he, however, starts to worry by the end of the first week that Steffy might be preparing something unexpected, something involving Liam. Alarms are raised by her intention to visit Liam alone and relive memories with him under the pretense of closure. Ridge, Taylor, and even Brooke are left speculating as she is spotted leaving his hospital room with tears flowing down her cheeks and no apparent reason. Has Steffy once again been caught between the past and the present? Carter Walton, meantime, experiences heartbreak in real time. Even though his romantic relationship with Hope was always going to be tense, what transpires next is surprising. After sacrificing himself for Hope, helping her get through Liam's illness, allowing her emotional space, and even starting to see a life with her, he receives a revelation that leaves him speechless. As she sees Liam drift away, Hope feels the weight of the world and starts to rely more and more on Carter until she abruptly stops. Hope tells Carter in a beautiful encounter at Forrester Creations that although she values his forbearance and courage, her heart has never truly been free. She even acknowledges that she still has feelings for Liam and feels obligated to support him regardless of how little time he may have left. Carter is left in disbelief as the declaration is made quietly but firmly. He simply processes the pain in silence without arguing, pleading, or lashing out, and the listener can perceive his anguish more in his silence than in his words. Considering how complicated things often get when Steffy is involved, Hope's choice also has an impact on her relationship with her mother, Brooke, who has never fully embraced her daughter's emotional involvement with Liam. In a heated mother-daughter confrontation, Brooke challenges Hope, cautioning her against reverting to her former behaviors out of guilt or nostalgia alone. Hope, on the other hand, is not going to be influenced. She maintains that this is about love, loyalty, and acting morally when someone you care about is at their most vulnerable, not about being caught in a cycle. The gap between them widens when Brooke's words are ignored. On Steffy's front, the enigma surrounding her peculiar actions continues to grow. She has been observed providing Finn fewer and fewer details about her location, making cryptic phone calls, and sneaking off to meet with someone who is not visible on camera. There are rumors that she intends to take Liam somewhere for a last-ditch medical procedure. Others think she may be reinventing her history with him in an attempt to atone for her transgressions. However, Steffy is keeping it a secret, which is unsettling for everyone, especially Hope. It also seems odd that the two women are becoming closer. Are longtime foes suddenly coming together in grief? Or does Steffy's generosity conceal something more cunning? Thomas, who reappears throughout this 2-week cycle with his own questions, adds even more strain. He observes that Hope and Steffy's relationship has changed, and he's not sure if this is a good thing. Viewers can't help but wonder if previous feelings would re-emerge now that Carter appears to be out of the picture, even though his care for Hope seems sincere. Will Hope's existence be at its most precarious when Thomas returns to her orbit? At Liam's bedside, the last several days of this 2-week preview culminate. Unplanned, unannounced, and emotionally raw, Steffy, Hope, and Carter end together in the same room. They are all shocked by Liam's pleading, scarcely able to talk. After he leaves, he urges Carter to watch out for Hope. He acknowledges Hope's need for a stable companion and Carter's kindness without being spiteful or sarcastic. Hope breaks down in tears and Carter is left stunned by this act of grace. As she watches the entire conversation, Steffy eventually speaks out about her tendency to keep things to herself. In an attempt to get Liam accepted into an experimental trial abroad, she has been collaborating with an expert. The catch? Liam would have to leave right away, and depending on the outcome of the procedure, he might never return. Everything changes because of this news. Hope is conflicted because she has recommitted her heart. How can she say goodbye now? Steffy is once again caught in the middle, attempting to do the right thing by Liam while navigating the mess her decisions have generated, while Carter observes that the only thing keeping him in Hope's life is gradually evaporating. Exasperated by the deceit, Finn confronts her alone and asks if she still feels the same way about Liam. Her response? Although she doesn't say yes, she also doesn't say no. We have more questions than answers at the end of the 2-week period. Will Hope accompany Liam if he departs for treatment? Will Carter make a final move, or has he really come to terms with her rejection? Is Steffy attempting to make amends or shield herself from emotions she long suppressed? And is Brooke the one who could reveal the entire emotional cover-up, given her growing suspicion of everyone's intentions? There's no denying that The Bold and the Beautiful is raging with drama, and viewers won't want to miss a second of it as betrayal, heartbreak, and last chances collide in a plot that could completely change our perceptions of Hope, Steffy, Liam, and the men who love them. Daphne enters the spotlight with the intention of capturing Carter Walton's affection. What started out as mild admiration is now turning into a daring quest that could upset the delicate equilibrium of emotional bonds that are already strained by confusion, betrayal, and loss. Daphne has been clear about her intentions. She sees something in Carter that she is prepared to fight for, even if it means overcoming rivalry, rejection, and the lingering effects of Hope Logan's complex emotions. She employs some strategy in her approach. Daphne is not just behaving impulsively, rather, she is calculating, sympathetic, and becoming more convincing as she positions herself as the self Carter was unaware he needed. Daphne, who is self-assured, steady, and not scared to express her desires, acts as a stabilizing influence as Carter struggles with Hope's hesitancy and emotional detachment. Carter is deeply shaken by this aggressiveness. He has long been the romantic casualty, always coming in second in someone else's romance. However, Daphne's unwavering generosity and bold pursuit might be the decisive factor. She tells Carter that he is the prize and not an afterthought. Hope's hesitancy, however, still plagues Carter. She is gripped by sadness and doubt, torn between her love for Liam and the moral imperative of sticking by Carter after everything they have shared. Carter, who was once optimistic about their future, is starting to notice the fissures that are growing in their relationship's foundation. In this situation, Daphne is useful not only as a sympathetic ear but also as a lady who won't let him settle for half of someone's heart. Additionally, the emotional tension increases as their friendship grows. Daphne is cautious not to push or manipulate Carter, but she isn't giving up either. She is aware that timing is crucial in romantic relationships, and since Carter is so open and vulnerable, she feels that this is her chance. She is betting on herself as Carter's genuine match rather than trying to be the rebound. Daphne is a fascinating figure in this evolving triangle because of her self-assurance. She is a disruptor in the best sense of the word, not just a spoiler. She challenges Carter to stop settling for mediocre love, anticipates his wants, and listens when he speaks. Even while she is aware of his scars, the hope story, his ongoing sense of inferiority, and the disappointment of his failed relationships, she still believes he deserves a passionate, satisfying future. There is no denying their chemistry in private. A bit too much time is spent in eye contact. Unspoken promises seem to be charged into the brushing of palms. Carter, who has always been a cautious and devoted man, is hesitant to go beyond that boundary. He fears committing another error, misinterpreting Daphne's generosity, or worse, using her as a bandage for Hope's still raw heart. Daphne is not pressuring him, though. She's giving him time to think things over while being very clear that she's available when he's ready, not as a stand-in, but as a woman who is ready to love him fully. Rumors about Daphne's plans start to circulate in other Forrester and Logan circles. Because Brooke believes Daphne's timing is opportunistic, he is doubtful. However, Ridge notices a change in Carter and questions whether this unexpected bond is what his friend needs. Even though Steffy is still consumed with the aftermath of Liam's illness and Hope's waning loyalty, she can't deny that Daphne appears to sincerely care about Carter's happiness. Additionally, Carter deserves to be sought after, loved, and picked without hesitation, something Hope obviously struggles with, and Katie, who is always the voice of reason, subtly endorses this viewpoint. Hope is also having some introspection as a result of Daphne's pursuit. She is forced to face her own dilemma as she observes Carter start to shine in someone else's light. Was Carter her true love, or was he just a place to hide while Liam drifted out of her life? It's a painful question, and she might not be prepared to respond to it. Carter has become more distant due to her incapacity to fully commit, and Daphne's steady presence is quickly bridging the emotional gap. In a sense, Hope's genuine emotions are emerging as a result of Daphne's visit, but it might be too late by the time she's prepared to face them. Carter is becoming stronger, more self-assured, and more attracted to a woman who isn't scared to assert her desires. The emotional authenticity of this plot is what makes it so captivating. There is no scandal or manipulation behind this love triangle. Rather, it stems from genuine heartache, vulnerability, and the universal human need to be selected without any restrictions. After years of being the underappreciated hero, Carter is now at last the focus of attention. Daphne is a woman of depth, charm, and passion whose history is only gradually coming to light. She is more interested in love than in drama. The audience is left wondering what it would be like if Carter let himself fall in love with someone new, someone who isn't burdened by unresolved issues and broken hearts. The path ahead won't be easy. Hope isn't the kind to let go easily, especially now that she's witnessing Carter gradually severing their once strong relationship. Whether it is warranted, her envy can reappear and lead to conflict between the three. Furthermore, despite her great patience, Daphne has a limit. Despite her self-assurance, she is a human. She might go with her dignity if Carter is unable to make a decision about her in the end. But for the time being, the chase goes on, and it's stunning, heartbreaking, and engrossing to witness. Daphne isn't merely after Carter. She is working toward a time when she will be appreciated, seen, and loved in return. The main question is whether Carter is prepared to accept that love, and the answer could have a significant impact on the bold and the beautiful. Viewers are struck speechless by Liam Spencer's devastating and poignant appeal to Hope Logan, his lifelong love, the mother of his child, and the woman whose heart has always fluctuated between two worlds, as he confronts what may be his last chapter. Liam reaches out to Hope with the entire emotional intensity of their shared past, not just words, in the eerie silence of a hospital room while the monitor beeps continuously next to him. His eyes, which are both clear and painful, show a soul that longs for calm, connection, and closure before the unknown engulfs him. And his question is not straightforward. It is intertwined with love, regret, longing, and the intense desire to make sure those closest to him are taken care of long after he is gone. But when Liam reveals his final wish, Hope is left to bear the responsibility of fulfilling it. This choice might completely upend Hope's worldview and change our understanding of love and devotion in this series. Liam doesn't request lavish homages or public proclamations. His request of Hope is complex and very personal. He wants her to swear that she will not squander her life lamenting him. He wants her to be content, rediscover love, and be resilient for their daughter. He wants Hope to let herself go on with someone she can trust, someone he approves of, someone like Carter. But beneath the admirable exterior of these statements is a more profound and precise request. It is impossible to overlook the request's irony. Even in his last days, Liam, the guy who for years was at the heart of a struggle between Hope and Steffy, is attempting to steer the story. It comes from love and fear. It is neither malevolent nor manipulative. He fears being overlooked. He fears the emptiness that will result from his disappearance. Above all, he fears Hope will become enmeshed in the past and never experience happiness again. However, it is a want entwined with emotional complexity to ask her to look at another guy, perhaps Carter, while he is still breathing. The request astounds Hope. How could she not be? Her first love, her everlasting what-if, and the man who has always remained in the back of her mind despite her attempts to let him go, Liam is more than simply her ex-husband or co-parent. It is nearly unbearable to consider living without him and considering the possibilities of falling in love with someone else while he is still living. However, his final request compels her to face her feelings for Carter, Liam, herself, and the future she never thought she would have without Liam. The issue then arises. Is it really respecting someone to walk the route they have outlined for you, or is true honor found in being loyal to your own heart despite the pain? Steffy, who has a lengthy and complex past with Liam, is also drawn into the gravitational field of this dying wish, adding to the emotional complexity of the situation. In his absence, Liam hopes that longtime enemies Steffy and Hope will finally find harmony and peace. It's another admirable idea, but it ignores years of suffering, treachery, and rivalry. While grieving for the love they both lost, is it possible for Hope and Steffy to genuinely find peace? Or will Liam's wish end up being more like a wedge than a bridge? Everyone concerned has to reflect deeply on this occasion. Hope in particular feels as though she must balance upholding her changing identity with respecting Liam's legacy. The woman who used to listen intently to everything Liam said has changed. She has matured, endured pain, made brave decisions, and doubted everything. If Liam's death actually occurs, it will not only signal the end of a romance but also the potential beginning of a new hope. Unknowingly, Carter is also at the core of Liam's last request. He would never attempt to replace Liam or take advantage of the circumstance, but his feelings for Hope are sincere, and he is now torn between the possibility of love and loss. Although Carter is a man of honor, Liam's blessing can be interpreted as a sign that it's okay to pursue Hope. He is not interested in love that stems from duty or pity. Instead of being inherited as a responsibility, he would prefer to be freely chosen. Therefore, even though Liam wants Hope to embrace a future with Carter, it's a risky wish. Is Hope going to approach Carter because she wants to or because Liam wants to? And is she really honoring anyone if she doesn't understand the difference? Then there is the more general question, if fulfilling a loved one's last request goes against their own emotional reality, should anyone feel obliged to do so? The storyline's emotional core is this. Despite being incredibly affectionate, Liam's request puts a great deal of strain on Hope. Is she betraying her own grieving process if she decides to pursue it? Is she betraying the man she once had a deep love for if she turns it down? Will Hope's decisions affect Beth, their daughter, and how she recalls her father? The effects are generational in nature rather than merely personal. Hope's choices today will affect her friendships, her family, and perhaps the dynamics of the entire world of Forrester and Logan. In the end, Liam is just requesting reassurance that his presence, his love, and his legacy won't be absorbed by time. He desires for Hope to experience full life, love once more, and remember him as the person who once gave her a sense of aliveness rather than as a ghost that haunts her every step. The crucial question is still whether Hope should or can fulfill that request. What is certain, though, is that the emotional reality at the core of her decision will define her character for many seasons to come. Will she create her own path or will she follow Liam's? And in the process, without Liam by her side, what will she learn about herself? The slow and steady rhythm of Daphne and Carter's developing romance feels like a welcome change of pace in The Bold and the Beautiful, where love tales frequently burn brightly and crash even faster. It's also possible that this soap opera has been lacking a love story of this kind for a while. What started out as a discreet string of fortuitous encounters, courteous grins, and averted looks has developed into something more profound, based on mutual respect, tacit comprehension, and emotional openness that neither character anticipated discovering. Having been continuously unlucky in love and battered by heartbreak, Carter has been cautious after his hopes with Quinn, Paris, and most recently, Hope, fell through. Daphne, on the other hand, entered the canvas as a new character, sophisticated, kind, observant, and just reserved enough to pique interest. Week by week as they have gradually come closer to one another, their bond has grown through late-night conversations, encouraging actions, and the kind of chemistry that develops in the silences rather than the pyrotechnics. This was aptly depicted in Sunday's B&B scenes. Daphne and Carter's bond reached a subdued yet potent crescendo that left viewers wondering, is this love real? Given the turmoil surrounding Liam's health, the ongoing tension between Steffy and Hope, and Brooke and Ridge's never-ending merry-go-round, the Daphne-Carter plotline provided a much-needed emotional diversion while maintaining its fascination. As the rest of Los Angeles collapsed around them, Carter and Daphne sat across from one another at Il Giardino, enjoying coffee. Their personal moment conveyed more in a single glance than many of the show's characters could in a lengthy monologue. Daphne didn't present herself as a savior or pressure Carter to share all of his emotions. Rather, she genuinely listened to Carter as he worked through his heartbreak, his anxieties about constantly being the guy women come to when they're in love with someone else, and his desperate wish for a partnership based on mutual choice rather than convenience or sympathy. The fact that Carter and Daphne aren't playing games is what makes this combination so alluring. On a show that is notorious for snap judgments and frenzied relationships, there is an emotional maturity to their dynamic that is particularly noticeable. Daphne has no intention of overshadowing Carter's background or competing with Hope. She finds methods to open doors without pushing her way in, respects his limits, and acknowledges his pain. Carter is also not making this relationship as a rebound. He's actually probably more wary than ever, possibly even unwilling to consider the possibility that someone like Daphne might genuinely recognize him and want him, not as a stand-in or consolation prize, but as the ultimate goal. Even while their supporters are cheering them on, there is still a question: is this love genuine, or is it only a prelude to something bigger? After all, stability frequently portends an impending surprise on The Bold and the Beautiful. Is Daphne hiding anything of her own? Could Carter's unresolved feelings for Hope resurface at the most inconvenient moment? And when Steffy, Brooke, or perhaps Ridge finally start to notice, what part might they play in the development of this silent romance? People are starting to notice that Carter seems happier, more grounded, and more like himself, according to rumors circulating throughout Forrester Creations. This type of change is not ignored for very long. However, Daphne and Carter's relationship feels different for the time being. It's not the type of love that bursts forth in hotel rooms or makes headlines on gossip blogs. It's the type that grows on long walks, quiet moments spent together, and the knowledge that someone finally notices all of your wounds and chooses to stay. The fact that Daphne's gentle touch of Carter's hand across the table wasn't sexy was confirmed in Sunday's episode. It was reassuring. "Carter, you don't have to earn love," she said. The words, "you just have to let it find you," struck him in the heart like a gentle thunderclap. Perhaps, just possibly, this is the actual thing, based on the expression in his eyes. Naturally, it won't make everyone pleased. Despite her dedication to helping Liam through his medical emergency, Hope is still emotionally involved with Carter in ways she hasn't entirely come to terms with. Hope could have to reconsider everything, including the calm stability she had previously contemplated with Carter, if Liam's illness worsens, or gets better. For her part, Daphne is aware that she is entering a complicated world. Carter is more than simply a guy, he has a history of half-healed heartbreaks, complex relationships, and Forrester politics. She appears ready for that, though. She takes a measured and patient approach. She is attempting to create a future out of his history, not to erase it. In a world where genuine love is sometimes lost in translation, or manipulation, that is the main factor that gives this relationship a shot. Daphne and Carter's future may hinge on their willingness to be honest with themselves as well as with one another. Will Carter give himself permission to think he deserves true, enduring love? Will Daphne persevere even if hope reappears with bewildered eyes or Carter falters? Rather of dreading the fire, can two people who have been burned so many times learn to warm themselves in each other's light? The foundation of this slow-burning romance, emotional safety, is something that B&B seldom emphasizes. Carter doesn't become nervous around Daphne, and he doesn't strive to change her or make her into a fantasy. They meet where they are, and in a world full of explosive betrayals, stolen kisses, and covert paternity testing, that type of peace may be the most radical love story ever. So, is it true love? It might be. It seems genuine. And that's half the battle won in soap opera terms. Daphne and Carter's slow burn might be put to the test more severely as the weeks go by and more secrets start to come to light. But they might just succeed if they can maintain the integrity, tolerance, and friendliness that initially led to this connection. After all, the quietest love tales can sometimes be the longest in a drama-heavy show.